Hello everyone and welcome to our May reset. If you are new here, my name is Amina and I do monthly resets monthly, and it's pretty much the time where I reflect the previous month's goals, make new goals, and have a little third section afterwards. So that's exactly what we're gonna do today. And in this video, we're gonna do a little reading wrap up because a lot of the videos I make about books, I will make either a reading vlog or a whole dedicated video about it. But in between, I have some books that I don't talk about. So I wanted to share them with you today so you can get a little review on some of the books that I read and see if I recommend it, my thoughts, and all that. So let's just go right in. I have my little laptop right here. We will just start with our April goals. So for content, first thing I said was that I wanted to continue posting on Bookstagram 4 times this month. So I talked about this on my Instagram actually, but I had like this realization that I do not want to make Instagram related goals. Honestly, I just felt like it was a waste of time and I felt like I was forcing myself to do it. Like a couple days ago, I realized that I haven't touched this goal and I was trying to brainstorm video ideas and it just wasn't coming to me. I just tried looking for inspiration. I was like, short form content is just so difficult for me right now, and like trying to find what I want to post on Bookstagram and like kind of forcing it just wasn't something I wanted to do. I realized that because after I was getting frustrated from not knowing what to post, I went on a walk and it was just a really nice peaceful walk and it gave me a lot of clarity. And I was like, yo, I have content related goals that I want to achieve this year and none of them have anything to do with Instagram. I don't have a follower goal that I want to reach. I don't have opportunities that I want to have through Instagram. Like none of them are related to Instagram whatsoever. So I was just kind of thinking like, okay, well, what's the point of this goal? Like what is the intention behind it? How is it getting me closer to any of my yearly goals? And that's the whole point of doing these monthly goals, is to get closer to them. So I just decided that I was gonna completely drop this goal and probably all Instagram related goals from now on because it just doesn't serve me and there's no purpose to it. And it was really funny at the same time because while I was going on a walk, there were these 2 teenagers who were filming TikTok videos together, and like I guess the juxtaposition of me enjoying my walk and deciding to prioritize my personal goals and goals regarding quality time and being less on my phone and with technology was a nice contrast compared to seeing them making their TikTok videos, which is nothing bad, but I just thought it was very representative of what I was choosing to focus my time on because just a couple minutes prior I was getting frustrated because I didn't know what to post on Instagram. So yeah, but with that being said, still follow me on Instagram just because I started posting more on my stories, which I really enjoyed. And if you follow me on Instagram, then you already heard this little speech because I came on and told you guys exactly how I was feeling. And that's probably just what the direction I want to take my Instagram with, is just have it as like an accessory to my YouTube where we can just talk about things and it's not like an entirely new platform where I'm trying to like grow and connect with a new audience. Like I just want my Instagram to be for y'all. Like I just want it to be a place where we can DM or do polls together, just talk about stuff like less curated in the sense where I'm not editing like how I am in this video, and I just like come on my stories and still post. I still do want to post on there, but not have any goals related to that. So that was just a little something that I learned and a long way of me saying I didn't complete this goal, but it's okay because there are some that I did. The next one was to write 4 reviews on Goodreads. If you know, I have had a Goodreads account for a couple months now, but I would just put like my star rating on there. I never wrote a full review, but I did do this. I wrote 4 reviews. If you want to know what they are, then you can go find them on my Goodreads account. But yeah, I did it. It was nothing exciting, nothing boring. It just is what it is. So I'm glad that I completed that. Then for health, I said that I wanted to continue with weekly yoga and then spend 5 to 10 minutes of body movement 2 to 3 times weekly. So something to note with this goal and also probably all the goals that I have, I was sick earlier this month and it took me out, not gonna lie. It wasn't like for a huge amount of time, but I just felt like super gross and stuffy and low energy and sore throaty, and it just wasn't conducive to be able to fulfill all these goals 100%. So when I say I complete some of these goals, it's not counting the week that I was sick because I can't control that and I don't want to punish myself and say I didn't do that just because I was sick. So keeping that in mind, I did do the 5 to 10 minutes of body movement, but I honestly didn't do very much yoga. I have just done mostly yoga this past week, but for the rest of the month I didn't. So I'm not gonna click off that one. And I had an epiphany as well regarding my health goals, which was just really nice because I felt like I was having a lot of epiphanies this month. And that is that even though I have goals for health and wellness, I feel like some of the monthly goals, even though I feel like I've been doing relatively well with them, I feel like I've been struggling a little bit because I haven't had a specific goal that I wanted to reach. Let me explain. So for my yearly health goals, it has to do with like the lifestyle I'm living, the type of person I want to be and stuff like that. But there's not like a specific goal that I'm reaching. A couple weeks ago, watching this episode of Regular Show, and one of the characters couldn't do a pull-up, and I was like, can I even do a pull-up? And so I tried and I realized I can't do a pull-up, and that made me annoyed but excited because I was like, wait, I have something I can work towards now, and I now want to work towards doing a pull-up, like just one pull-up, and then we can go from there. And I feel like that can be something that might be the missing piece that I have been trying to find regarding my health and wellness, because I wasn't doing terrible, but I wasn't doing amazing. And I think having a goalpost that I want to reach, something that's very measurable and be like, yo, I did it, that's not just a vague lifestyle that I want to live, might be the difference between killing this goal or just like kind of doing well with my health and wellness. So that is something that I'm now working towards, and my upper body strength sucks. So I will be so proud of myself if I do a pull-up. So I think this next month's goal is going to be around that, and hopefully I can do a pull-up at some point. I don't know, but that'll be like super exciting. All right, finance. Continue to update budget weekly, continue with conscious spending, and apply to new jobs. I did all of those. Really nothing exciting. And I feel like with all of them, I don't feel like I need to really write them down anymore because it feels kind of normal. I think we'll still add the budget and conscious spending goal just at least to the end of this quarter, just to really like drill it in. But I feel like I'm doing really well with that. That being said, I did spend a lot of money this month, but they were big purchases that were like necessities in a way. So I feel like that's still conscious spending, and like if it goes out of my budget a little bit, it's fine. Like life happens, but I wasn't like crazy spending on things that I don't need. And then personal, I said continue to prioritize quality time with myself and others, and I did this. I feel like I did it almost maybe too much. Like every weekend I was doing something with other people, and it was nice, but I realized that I need to have weekends to myself, have some time to myself, so I can recharge and not always be like, oh, I have to do this or that. But regardless, I had a lot of fun hanging out with people and socializing, because like in the moment I'm not tired. It doesn't really hit me until afterwards. I'm glad that I'm socializing more often and spending time with people, because I feel like that's very easy to just be like, oh, I can hang out whatever time or later or something like that. But yeah, I feel like it's really easy for me to push aside making plans because I'm like, oh, maybe next week, because just the time by myself is very precious to me. But I'm glad that like I'm going to try to find the right balance for me, and it's gonna vary month to month depending on what I'm going through, how busy I am, and all that stuff. The last thing I want to do when I'm stressed out is socialize. Gotta be for real. So the next one I said was to complete one creative handmade project, which I did do. And do you want to see it? Okay, so I made a little bookmark, and this is her. It's like fish themed, ocean themed. I literally just like randomly threw this together. There was really no inspiration. This is the first time that I've drawn in years. Like I used to love to draw, and I was scared I forgot how to draw, which I'm glad that I didn't completely lose the skill. It's a little awkward. Like I wanted to have more texture. That's why I added this like seashell and this little jellyfish. So it might look a little awkward, but like I'm still very proud of her. I'm glad that I spent some time just by myself. I was literally just like listening to music, and then I was eventually on FaceTime with my cousin, and then drawing this was just so nice, and I was like, I need to do this more. Like I felt like so much joy. I don't know. It was just really nice. I definitely need to get better with some of my shading though, because I was scared of messing up, but I'm really glad I like made a little bookmark, and she could use some work, but nonetheless, I'm super excited and I'm ready to use this for my next read. So yeah. All right, so these are all my goals. I kind of killed it, not gonna lie. Only 2 goals that I didn't really do very well, and one of them no longer serves me. So I'm really happy about that. So moving on to words that describe this month, the first one I said was restful, and that was just because, again, I was feeling sick, and so I rested, obviously, and I'm glad that I didn't try to like overly stress over certain things, like, oh, I need to make sure I do this and that, and make sure I'm focusing on other stuff that don't matter when I'm literally sick. So felt very restful. I'm happy that I got that time to just relax a little bit. And then the next one I said was communal, and that has everything to do with just me socializing. The end of Ramadan was in the beginning of April-ish, and so that was really nice. We got to spend a lot of time together with some family and friends and just celebrate the holy month, and Eid was right afterwards. Then we also had a little party get together, and it was my niece's first Ramadan and Eid, so it was really sweet, and seeing her be all dressed up was really sweet. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. And then the next one I said was reflective, and I think that again has to do with not wanting to make Instagram related goals anymore. It doesn't serve me. It's not something that is driving me into a direction that I care to be in. So that was really nice and something that I'm glad I reflected on. Still want to post there, still want to like be consistent with talking to you guys on my stories, but again, let me just not put a number on it, and I really just want to focus on YouTube and doing UGC because that is where my priority is at right now. And also reflective in regards to, I want to do a pull-up. I'm gonna come in here one of these months, I'm gonna be like, y'all, I did that pull-up, and I don't even know how long it takes to do a pull-up, but I want to do one, and I'm glad that now I have a goal that I want to reach that has to do with my physical activity. So yeah. Okay, so moving on to our May goals, let's start with content. So first, I want to prioritize content creation with YouTube and UGC. I don't want to really get distracted with other things like Instagram and whatever other stuff, unless it's like being repurposed, like something from YouTube being repurposed from Instagram or Pinterest or whatever. I don't want to like force myself to do it. Like YouTube, UGC, that's where most of my energy I want to put into right now, and instead of stressing over Instagram, I can put it towards that. So that is a priority for this month. And then I also want to film another language learning diaries. So I feel like language learning has been something that has been slipping on my channel, and that's a huge part of my channel. It's why I started my channel to begin with. So I want to continue my language learning diaries, and I want to post episode 2 this month, and I want to make that a priority. I don't want to pivot in that way because a lot of you guys have actually found me from my language videos, so I want to keep that going, and also it keeps me accountable for continuing to practice with my Spanish. So those are my content goals for May. And then with health, I said that I want to reach the halfway point of the pull-up bar. I don't know how long it takes to do a full pull-up, and I don't know exactly the exercises I need to do. So I also added that I also want to prioritize upper body exercises and hopefully find out exactly the type of exercises that I need to do to reach that pull-up goal. But I'm pretty sure just focusing on upper body is going to be the goal because girl, my arms are so weak, and I feel like I'm a lower body workout type of girl. Like I'm way stronger in my legs than my arms. Still weak all around though. I also feel like it would be so cool having goals like this because I feel like once I complete this one, I also want to complete another physical goal, but like be able to see and talk about how, oh, in 2023 I couldn't do this, but in 2024 I could. Like that is just so cool, and that's what's so awesome about filming and making goals and talking about goals, is that you can see the change and have like physical evidence of you being a different person. And then I said I also want to continue the 5 to 10 minutes of body movement 2 to 3 times weekly. It's just good to move your body, and I don't want to necessarily change this goal because I only added it last month. So continuing with that just to add to the new goal of trying to do a pull-up. I think that'll be good. And then with finance, I'm literally repeating the same goals as the last few months with continue the budget and conscious spending. A lot of my finance goals has to do with that. So just gonna keep going at it. And I think it's also important to like not try to make new goals just for the sake of making new goals. Sometimes you just need to continue it and like try to stay on track, because I don't want to get distracted and make another goal that's similar to my posting on Instagram when it doesn't really serve me or lead me to my actual yearly goals. So we're just gonna keep those the same. And then with personal, I want to complete another handmade project. In my quarter reflection from last month, I said that I wanted to have 3 handmade crafts done, 1 each month by the end of the next quarter. So we already did one, so if I can do one more this month, then I will be a happy girl. And honestly, it's not that hard. It's literally just remembering and being like, hey, let me get off my phone, because honestly, like, what are you doing scrolling for? There's not really anything important there, but what is important is spending time with yourself. So I really want to take more time to just be present and by myself. And I mean, not even be by myself, because I could be on FaceTime with someone else. I can be in person with someone else doing these things, listening to a podcast, watching a YouTube video. It doesn't have to be completely alone in silence. And then the last one for personal was to focus on what I can control and eliminate the what ifs. I feel like right now I'm good with my anxiety. I feel like she's being managed, but every so often, a couple times throughout the month, I just get kind of really sad and anxious. And when I can focus on the things that I can control instead of thinking about what if this, what if that, it brings me a lot of peace, because even if the worst case scenario happens, you're kind of just prolonging the misery, because if it happens, it happens, and you'll be sad when it does. Why are you being sad about it sooner? Just let it happen. And if it doesn't happen, then you were kind of sad for no reason to begin with. So I'm trying my best to manage my anxiety, forget the what ifs, and just focus on what I can control, what I can do, and whatever happens, happens, and it is what it is. Like, that's just life, dude. So those are my goals for May. I think they're really good. They're very focused. They're very aligned with my yearly goals. So hopefully they should be easy to achieve. And something that I realized too since making these goals is that the more that I do it and the more that I build upon what I'm already doing, the success rate kind of goes up. Like, if I'm every month making totally new random goals, then I feel like it's harder to make habits, and the success rate could be 50-50. But I noticed in these last few months, they've been pretty good. Like, the first month was kind of a mess. We're gonna ignore that. But like, afterwards, I feel like I've only missed 1 or 2 goals here and there, which is really, really good. Like, I'm not striving for perfection. I'm just striving for progress. And the ones that I don't achieve, then I can just continue to build on it for the next month and get better from there. Like, it doesn't seem like a failure to me when I miss a goal. It's just like, okay, let's reflect. Why is that? Is it still serving me? And if it is, how can I look at it different? Like, I think that's why, like, reflection is key, guys. There's no race. It's not something that you have to complete your goals 100% no matter what, because it's all about growth, you know? So anyways, now I'm super excited because we're going to be talking about all the books that I've read so far this year that I haven't talked about. So if you want to stay up to date with everything I read, you know where to go. But so far I've read the whole Chestnut Springs series. I reread one book from the Dreamland Billionaire series, and then I also read Love in Other Words, which I made a reading vlog about that not too long ago. I've read quite a few, but there are 3 books that I want to talk about that I read on Kindle Unlimited, which I freaking love, because the books that I read were in between the books that I just mentioned, where I had like an itch to read but didn't want to pull out my wallet. So Kindle Unlimited is really good for that. It's only like $11 a month, and you have so many books to choose from. So if you would like to get a Kindle, the link is in the description, and so are the stickers that I use for my Kindle. So the first book that I want to discuss is Twisted, which is the 4th book in the, I think it's the 4th book in the Never After series. I've talked about the Never After series before. I probably made reading vlogs as well, but it is pretty much a reimagining of fairy tales. Book 1 and 2 were a Peter Pan and Lion King reimagining, which I enjoyed. I liked the Lion King one the most, and then the 3rd one was a Wizard of Oz reimagining, which I did not like really at all. And then the 4th one, which we're going to talk about, is called Twisted, and it is a Aladdin reimagining. And so pretty much this is about Jasmine, and she is the daughter of like a billionaire man. He owns like Sultan jewelry, I think. It's been a while since I read this, honestly, but her dad is slowly dying and he wants her to get married, and she has been dating this boy named Aiden, who is the help around the like business. I think he cleans or something, him and his mother. So her and him have been secret lovers. She would like to marry him, but she knows her dad would never approve. Then we have our guy Julian, is that his name? Yeah, he is, I think, like the CFO. He's second in command to her father in this business, and again the CEO is dying, so Julian wants the company for himself. But the CEO wants Yasmin to get married so that he can run the business on her behalf because women can't do anything. Julian pretty much schemes and tells Yasmin that he can find a way for her and Aiden to be together. And of course, Julian just wants the CEO position. It's a dark romance. And honestly, I don't even want to talk about this anymore because I can't even articulate it. It's been honestly only since March-ish, but like I didn't really enjoy it. I just couldn't get into it. I felt like the chemistry wasn't there. The romance wasn't there. There was a lot of back and forth, hot and cold moments between the love interest that made me feel annoyed, and I just couldn't care honestly what happens. I don't know why. Like the first two books I didn't mind. The third and the fourth just weren't it for me. I rated this one a 2.5. I don't remember what I like about the book. I think it was just the writing was fine, like the writing style and the syntax and all that, but I just couldn't care. So far there's one more out, and I think it's a Hunchback reimagining, which as a kid Hunchback scared me so much. But I'm interested to read this, so maybe at some point I'll read it and let you know how I feel about it. But this just wasn't it for me. That's all you need to know. We don't have to talk about it anymore. Then the next one I read was called Broken, Not a Halal Love Story, which I was super excited about it because it's pretty much about a Hausa Muslim girl, which if you don't know, I'm Nigerian. More specifically, I'm Hausa. So I've never read a book where the main character spoke Hausa like how I hear my family speaking all the time, is Muslim. I've never had any type of representation like that at all. And the reviews sounded super good, so I was really excited. It's pretty much about this girl named Faiza, and then she meets this guy named Ahmad, and they are both Muslim, and there are a lot of ways that you go about dating when you're Muslim, and they kind of cross that line. And they're also both Nigerian, so there's a cultural aspect in that as well. It's again not a halal love story, so I felt like it was really nice because a lot of times I feel like Muslims are scared to talk about things that are haram or not allowed, and so exploring situations where people do haram things sounds crazy. And I felt like this was really interesting because the way the character development happened throughout the story I really enjoyed, and it wasn't just haram for the sake of being haram and like trying to make excuses for things. It was really purposeful, and I personally really enjoyed reading it. The only thing though is that I felt like the main girl was kind of boring and bland, and I wish she had a little bit more personality. Like it got better towards the end, but I was still kind of like disappointed, and I felt like she was just like a dictionary, like listing off facts about religion and culture, and which I understand because not everybody is a Hausa Muslim person, but I felt like still she didn't have a lot of things that I couldn't understand. Like I couldn't understand why the love interest, the male main character, liked her so much. I couldn't find it. Like I was like, she just must be hot. Like there was nothing about her that I was like, oh my god, like I would completely be head over heels in love with her too. Like there was nothing. I also felt like the exposition was way too much. It was kind of just wordy and descriptive for no reason, and the transitions were really choppy and bad. Like I feel bad because I'm pretty sure this is her first book, but I felt like they didn't go through the proper editing that it needed to, and I felt like some scenes were completely flushed out. Like I don't think she really thought like, what is the purpose of having this scene here? Because sometimes I just felt like it was just a random scene, and like I don't think that like there always has to be, I mean actually I think I do, there has to be a reason for a specific scene. It doesn't necessarily need to always move the plot further, but does it let us understand the characters better? Does it let us understand the setting better? What does it let us understand? But like there are some scenes where I was just like, well, what is this for? And she had a tendency of like every time the two main characters were alone and there was a third person, they all of a sudden had to go to the bathroom, and I felt like it got really predictable. And speaking of predictable, the conflict was very predictable for me. It's not going to be predictable for you if you're not Muslim. The author did this thing where in the beginning of the book and throughout the whole book actually, these two characters went about the relationship and the dynamic normally. There was no red flags about it, but then somewhere in the middle she just said, oh, I wonder why this is why me and this person have a strained relationship, when that wasn't established earlier on. So because she said that, it just looked like a big red flag, like, hey, look at me, this is important, and it kind of gave it away for me. I wish that she like maybe established that earlier on so it didn't seem like a big thing that's like, y'all were fine a second ago and there was no evidence of y'all having a strained relationship. And I also really like that there was no Islamophobia or xenophobia in this book. That's something that I just really don't look for right now, like in my reading journey. I'm not trying to see minorities struggle. I feel like a lot of times that's the narrative people lean into. Like if we're gonna have main characters be a certain religion, a certain ethnicity, then we have to make it purposeful and make it like, oh, you struggle in these ways. And I'm just so over the struggle narrative. Like I'm so glad I got to see thriving Hausa Muslim people, and it wasn't hate that was always coming their way. And it's like, oh, another one, oop, another one, like always dodging hate. And like I just don't want to do that. I don't want to think about how much hate is in the world in real life, and then also think about how even in books I can't escape the hate. So I really appreciated that. I rated this book at 3 stars, mostly for the flow of the book, the editing that I feel like needed to be had, and the blandness of the main character. But I really liked how it ended. I liked how it was wrapped up, and it was very relatable to me. And that was something that I was telling my sister and my cousin about. I was like, yo, this is us. Like so many things that have happened regarding like family dynamics was very relatable for me. So anyways, 3 stars. I think it can easily be a 5-star if it goes through the proper editing, and if it does, I will definitely read it again. Then the next book, I literally finished reading it like yesterday, and it is what is it called? 1 Week in Paradise. I was initially really excited about it because it's a fake dating brother's best friend trope, and I love fake dating so much, but I'm slowly starting to realize how hard it is for people to successfully execute fake dating for me. So we have our main character, Bailey. She is an influencer who recently got canceled, and she had a video go viral. We don't know what the video is, but she stopped posting on social media. She stopped reaching out to her followers and brands and all that, and she's losing followers like crazy. So she kind of is concerned for the future of her career. But then she gets an email from a brand saying that they want to invite her and her boyfriend on an all-inclusive stay to Jamaica for 1 week, but she doesn't have a boyfriend. So it ends up with her bringing her brother's best friend Cash, and they go to Jamaica together. But the thing that really, well, there's a lot of things that I didn't like about this book, but one of the things that I really didn't like was, one, the amount of exposition in the beginning made me want to throw up. I hate getting thrown so much information in the beginning. It was ridiculous. I don't feel like this author, and I feel bad because maybe this was her first book, but like it was really bad. Like she showed nothing. She told me everything, especially in the first few chapters, probably the first chapter in general. And it was a very short book, only 200 pages, very easy, but I was thrown everything I need to know in the first few pages. And then also like Bailey is convinced that her brother's best friend, Cash, hates her. So it's like she's making up an enemies to lovers in her head, but there's no evidence of that. Like she just is so convinced that he hates her, and the evidence is so clear that he doesn't. Like it just shows that he doesn't, and she just always wants to interrupt him, doesn't want to communicate, and if he tries to explain, she's like, nope, we already established this, I don't want to hear it. Like she wants a misunderstanding. So it's just so annoying for me. Honestly, I couldn't. And I found 6 typos in the book. Like, I just felt like she didn't, I don't feel like this went through any like revisions at all. Like I felt like she just wrote it down and didn't reread it at all, didn't ask for an editor. Like it just was really poorly written. The story, I don't feel like it was very fully fleshed out. The chemistry was non-existent. I literally couldn't feel anything for them. Like I was like, are y'all sure there's chemistry? I don't know what they would have liked about each other. I can get, okay, they're attractive, but other than that, I don't get. And then the build up and the slow burn was really bad. Like it started off where she's like, hey, we really need to like sell that we're a couple, and then the first time they try to sell it, some weird spice thing happens, and then it was just like so alarming, and then they try to like go back to normal, and then I just felt like we're down here and then we go up here, then we go back down here, and it just for stupid reasons and reasons they don't want to communicate with. And I felt like every time a confession was gonna happen, it was so predictable, because then the author would just be like, okay, let's have an interruption here, let's have something happen where they can't confess. Like it was getting annoying how quickly and how frequently the interruptions would happen when there would be some type of confession or clear up of a misunderstanding. I also felt like they tried too much to be the main characters. Like for example, there were other couples on the trip and everybody would take pictures of them, but they wouldn't take pictures of anybody else. So that was annoying for me, because I'm like, oh, it's just giving too much main character. And then also the fact that she would look around at other people and be like, oh, they're doing this together, they're doing that together, we need to up our game and up the acting to really sell that we're a couple, was also very immature, because there are couples who don't like PDA, there are couples who don't show affection like that. I'm that type of person. I don't really show my affection in public, so it just was very juvenile for me to read about how she wants to like do all these stupid things to really sell that they're a couple, which also doesn't matter. Like, why do you need to sell it? I felt like the stakes were non-existent. I'm like, imagine a world where you would stare at, like, if someone, okay, if someone tells me they're a couple, I believe them. It is what it is. Like, I'm not, especially if we're not family, we're not close friends, like, the other people she was trying to convince were complete strangers that she met on that trip. So they don't know you. They don't know your body language, how you actually act when you're in a real relationship. So it just was weird. And like, it seemed like there were times where like this person who seemed suspicious was gonna say something, or maybe they would catch on or something. It kind of just turned out to be nothing. There were a lot of things that just turned out to be nothing in the end. There's nothing else to say. I rated this a 1 star. I feel like if I wrote a review, I'd feel bad, because I feel like I would tear it apart, and I don't want to do that to anybody, but I just don't understand this book, and I just wanted a nice, quick, lighthearted read. But yeah, the relationship wasn't there, the chemistry wasn't there, and she was a hair influencer, and tell me why she didn't sleep with a bonnet on. Like, everybody knows you sleep with a bonnet on. What? But now maybe I'm just nitpicking, but that's still really bothering me. Yeah. Let me not talk about it anymore. I don't wanna turn this into a hate session. But yeah, those are the 3 books that I read that I haven't mentioned so far this year. Not super good. We got a 1 star, a 2.5 star, and a 3 star. So yeah. But after this video, I'm about to film the intro to a reading vlog that hopefully will come up in the next few videos. So I have high hopes for this one. Hopefully it'll be good. Thank you guys so much for watching this reset. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, leave the little fish emoji for my little bookmark. But other than that, I wish you nothing but the best for your goals this month, and I'll see you next time. Bye!